Hey everybody, it's Justin doing starting a new thing here. I'm calling it rental car reviews. So right behind me, I have got I don't know, somewhere 2021, 2019, I don't know, whatever. It is a Nissan Kicks. It's my rental car. I got a business trip out of town, and I'm gonna do a little review on this piece of shit. I mean, this Nissan Kicks. We'll call it. I have. We'll wait till the judgment. We'll wait till the end of the video to pass judgment on this thing. So I'm gonna do this in a couple things. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna rate it on criteria, but I gotta be specific for rental cars, right? Because I'm not paying for like a really fancy car, right? This is what they gave me as an intermediate, which was 2 steps above their cheapest option, right? So they had compact, economy, and then intermediate. So when I think intermediate, I'm thinking, okay, this thing should be a little nicer than the Nissan Versa or the like a Kia Soul even, and and I haven't done reviews on those. I have driven them. I've driven plenty. I mean, this is my 15th trip in the past year. Within a 365, I've had 15 different trips. Each time I've got a different car. And each time I'm like, man, this thing's a piece of shit. Almost every single time. There was a couple where I got some pretty cool cars. My last rental, they actually gave me a Dodge Ram, which was pretty cool because I drive a truck, and it was nice to have a truck and not some little rinky-dink. So I'm gonna do a little review. I'm gonna go over the outside of the car. I'm gonna go over the inside of the car, what I like about it, what I dislike about it, and I'm gonna come up by the end of, I don't know, when I make the video, I'm gonna come up with like a point system, like where you sit. Like, are you a 1, which I'm probably going to call piece of shit, even though 1 through 5, as far as cheap rental cars go, are probably all going to be a piece of shit. But is it piece of shit? Like, I would never even consider buying this, or I just don't like it as a rental car. And we'll see why. Maybe the different trips that I go on will dictate what do I actually need, because usually I just got a suitcase in my backpack and me, right? So we'll see. I'm gonna go through the whole car, inside and out, just looking around at everything. I'm not gonna do 0 to 60s or anything like that, but I will tell you, this thing ain't got no nuts at all. Like I mean, the power on this is pretty pathetic. You drop that bitch all the way down into low, it's got nothing. It's like, okay, we'll get into it, but we'll see on that side. I'm gonna walk around the car, walk around inside the car, or just film around inside there. 60 walk around right here. You can see, I mean, this is the Nissan Kicks. It's not a bad looking little crossover SUV. I mean, the stance of it when you're inside it, when you're climbing into it, it feels like a car. It's just a car with some big windows, so you can actually see like the windows, and we'll get into that when we're in there. Visibility actually isn't too bad on this thing. Inside or outside the car, you can't really see in the blind spots here, but looking to your left and right, your peripherals, you actually have really good visibility. These are some tiny little tires, and I can definitely tell you they suck in turns, they suck in the rain. Even with the tiny little engine in there, I'm like burning out when it's slightly damp outside. I'm in Dayton, Ohio, and it's been kind of gloomy and raining since I got here. But aesthetically, I mean, this thing's not terrible. I mean, it's not a Porsche, obviously, but it's not terrible. I guess I wouldn't be too terribly upset if I had to drive this on the daily, or I had this car for like a month. I was on a trip for a month or something like that. It wouldn't be too bad in the sense of aesthetics. It's red. I like the color. I mean, I'm cool with red. The front, it's got some cool lines to it. Got this little like front diffuser looking thing. I'm not gonna call it a diffuser, just a diffuser looking thing. The wheels aren't too bad. Got the little fake, those aren't real roof racks, but it looks like a roof rack. You might be able to use it as that is some like wobbly plastic. I could rip that thing off right now. Taillights and stuff, it looks all right. It's a Nissan Kicks. It's not kicking ass, but it's the interior of the car. Okay, here's the back seat. I haven't even opened this door until just now. Hasn't really been a need to. I can tell you, I mean, inside, it's got this kind of a cool little pattern on the stitching. I don't know if you can see. It's not too bad. I mean, these headrests, I'll tell you, when you're sitting in the driver's seat, it is higher up, so you can see the difference in height between the front and the rear headrests. This one, the center one in particular, oh, you know what? It's actually raised up, so maybe that's why. Whatever, is there a button on the other side? No, fuck it. Whatever. That thing makes it a real bitch to look out the back window. The back window is actually pretty small, and these headrests, like, you don't have shit for visibility out the back window. Through the side windows, like I was saying earlier, tons of peripheral vision. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that. But the back of this it's got nothing back here. This little back window is tiny, and these headrests are completely blocking the view out of what's actually a pretty small and narrow front. Your rear view mirror it's just tiny, and then combine that with these headrests, I'm not for it. You know, standard doorknobs, whatever the hell. You got windows, cool. These look like a pretty good little speaker area. There's some cup holders back here. That's a nice touch. Is there one on that side? Yeah, it looks like there's one on that side over there. Speakers, yeah, little cutouts for it, or not cutouts, but I mean, this is actually like a good protection on there. I wouldn't feel like if you had, you know, you're hauling something and you wouldn't really damage the speakers internally. So that, I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna shut this door. I'm gonna open up the back here, and this is actually kind of a cool little feature. So the back pops up, but it's got this little front, like a little deck on it, right? That kind of seals all the way up to the top. I mean, it doesn't seal, but it sits over that. And so it's got a pretty good sized trunk area here that's covered, and the sun would actually not be able to hit anything that's in there. So like, for example, I bought a 12 pack when I first got here, and then I went to a restaurant and the sun wasn't beating down on my 12 pack that was just sitting in the trunk. So that's kind of cool. It's like a hatchback with an actual closed trunk. It looks like this just comes, I probably could pry this off. Yeah, it looks like it's just got some little snap buttons. I could probably pull this off if I needed to. I don't need to, so I'm not going to. Check this out, a little surprise. I got a couple of packs of Pokemon cards for my boys when I get home. Yeah, overall the trunk's not a little bad. It's got plenty of space, like enough for a business trip rental car. Definitely enough. All right, let's walk over to the front. So, a couple things with the front interior here. One, it's a lot different looking than the rear, right? So the rear's kind of really plain. It does have kind of this little mesh, kind of cool stuff on it. I mean, it's a pattern, whatever. Cool, not cool, whatever. There is some aesthetic there. There's a design to it. The front has a little bit different because it's got the silver molding and stuff. It's the door handle's a little more chrome. The buttons is whatever. It's very natural to touch these buttons when you're sitting down. I just reach over. I drive a Nissan Titan, so a lot of things in this, they feel familiar when I reach over, like my turn signals and all that kind of stuff. It's all familiar to me, so I'm kind of used to it, and I like it. Obviously, I bought the Titan. Speakers are the same way. Let's see. Try not to get too close here, but so this is the interior. It's got this little fake carbon fiber looking dash. I think it's gonna look better in person than it does actually on the camera here. I mean, it just looks like little bumpy stuff, but overall, as far as a cheap rental car goes, it's kind of cool looking interior here. Got some trash from lunch earlier. You just never mind that. The little not faceplate, but entertainment module, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty badass, actually. It's not like my truck at all. My truck's a 2014. This is obviously newer, but it feels pretty similar. I guess with the buttons and my back button and stuff, all that's the same as in my truck, and which is like, so it's familiar to me. So it's got an added bonus of I like it because it's similar, right? One thing I will say, as far as rental cars go, if you've ever synced your phone to a Bluetooth in a car before, there's sometimes it takes a while for, like, if you have music playing, the car has to start up and you got to drive for like a block before the Bluetooth will actually sync to the car's entertainment system and actually start playing music. This thing, I start the car and it immediately starts playing the music right where I left off from my phone, which my truck is the same way. And that's just a huge bonus. It's not a pain in the ass. I don't have to keep hitting the button and like, okay, play my Bluetooth, play it. This thing is instant. I mean, I turn the car on and it starts playing my music right where I left off from my phone, which to me is badass. Like that's a small little thing, but it's nice. You know, it's nice that it's there. Let's talk about the buttons on the steering wheel here. I can't cover the whole steering wheel because I can't see my phone now if I do that, but yeah, so there it is. I'm just going to do this just so I can see. It's very ergonomical. It's got these little ridges right here, and along the back of it, all through here, there's ridges for your fingers so you can actually get a pretty good grip on it. Down here, it's got another little ridge, like it pops up all through here, like each of these points, these intersections there. Very comfortable steering wheel, actually. It is very comfortable. It's very easy to hit the buttons. This one, I assume that there's a better model because this is just the SV, which I believe is Nissan's lowest, their lowest model as in terms of like luxury and stuff like that. So I assume that there's supposed to be buttons right here because on this side, the buttons right there for your thumb are the volume, which is very convenient. You know, volume, skip, you can even just repeat a song. Here's the little menu for the actual heads-up display, or if you want to even call it that, just the cluster here. It's got a couple nice features here on the left-hand side. These are for your blind spots. If you signal and there's a car next to you, this will start flashing and it'll start beeping, and it'll also start flashing on this side. Likewise on the right-hand side, like right here, there's a little light, that's a nice little feature. And then on this little thing, it's actually got like the lines on the left and the right side. If you start driving off the road, it starts going, you know, and it actually has it has a thing in the car. I don't know if it's the car vibrating or like something in the chair that's like telling you, alerting you, like, hey, you know, you're driving off the damn road. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. And it's gone off a couple more times than I like to admit. So, you know, whatever. The entertainment system, the speakers in this thing, like they're not, you know, they're nothing fancy and stuff like that. But as far as rental cars go, they're pretty bumping. Like it is a actually decent sound system in here, you know, and I listen to my music all the way up, like max volume, and it's actually hitting pretty good. It's not like, you know, a professional sound grade quality or anything like that, but it's very good, I would say, for as far as average consumer cars go. And like this is a lower end car, I would assume. You know, it's like cheap plasticky feel through here, but the damn speakers sound good, which I'm cool with. Little transmission. What is this? Are these like, I don't know what this button is right here. I just found this button. It looks like a little minus. And if that was to downshift, like manually, like beep, downshift, that'd be really cool. I'm going to test that out later. I will tell you that this thing, I mean, you slam it down all the way into low, which I really don't like that because, like usually all the way down is just drive, you know, and then it's like you could put it into, you know, 1 or 2 if it's an automatic. You know, when you put the button and just kind of pull it down, it just naturally wants to fall into low gear, which is not where you want to just be driving every day, because then you're just sitting in low and it's just not doing shit. Yeah, there is no plus or anything on this side to think that I could, you know, upshift or downshift like on the fly, which would be kind of cool. Because I probably would, because this thing has no power whatsoever, and if I could just drive the hell out of it in the wrong gear, that'd be kind of fun. But no, it doesn't. This is not a button, but I assume it's supposed to be some kind of button. I don't know. It's got a parking brake, whatever. I don't give a shit about that. It's got one, let's see if I can, an armrest right here for the driver, not the passenger, which When I'm sitting in this, like, I need this damn armrest because I'm used to having an armrest in my truck. It's nice, and I do use it when I'm driving. I use the armrest. It's definitely comfortable. If the armrest was up, and I was, I could just drive, steering wheels, blah blah blah, blah, both hands 10-2. Ah! Oh, sorry. Yeah, steering wheel, just armrest, got it. It's a nice touch. It's not bad. Overall, I mean, I'm a 5'9", average 5'9.5", thank you. Average height. And I got plenty of headroom. Like, I'm not risking hitting my head at all. Yeah, it's not bad. If I was hauling passengers, I mean, there ain't much space in between. And I'm not kicked that far back. I don't drive, like super chilled out all the way in the back. Obviously, the last passenger who's sat in this seat does, because there's like, I don't know, 6 inches in between here. So if you had passengers as a rental car, anybody who's, bigger than like 5'5" would probably not be real comfortable back there. But overall, I mean, the interior, the seats are pretty comfortable. They hug the sides. They do have a higher kind of side profile, like bucket seat, to kind of hold you in. And they do work. I've drove through some roundabouts, probably way faster than what I should. And they hold you in pretty good. The car feels kind of nimble. It's not a race car, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't feel like a minivan or like a truck or something like that. I mean, it feels a lot more nimble than what, I guess, what it could. Like, it doesn't feel too bad. The suspension, driving it is not too bad. It's not crazy bumpy. There's not a excessive road noise. Overall, it's pretty okay. Like a driving experience, aside from being severely underpowered. Brakes work fine. Brakes work really good. But the power, I mean, golly, trying to just get up to 60 takes like, I don't know, 10 seconds. It's gotta be not the slowest. I think the Toyota Yaris is probably the slowest car I've ever been in. That's older than, like, I don't know, 2000. But overall, I mean, this is a pretty cool little car. I mean, like, if I had to hold on to this thing for, I don't know, like a month or something, I was on like a trip that was going to take a month, or like my truck is actually in the shop right now, because it got hail damage, and so it's in the shop, and they told me it's going to be 35 to 45 days to replace. Overall, I wouldn't mind driving this for 45 days. Like, I wouldn't buy it, but I wouldn't mind driving this for 45 days. It's got decent speakers. It could, I mean, on a daily basis, as a daily driver, it meets all of my criteria for, whatever. I mean, it drives, it sounds like the speakers and the sound system's okay. The gas mileage, I'm averaging like 38 miles to the gallon, and I've been driving the hell out of this thing for the past 2 days. It doesn't have a whole lot to give, but it's given everything that I'm asking for it, or it's given everything it can. Not what I'm asking, but what it can, it is given. And I'm still getting 38 miles to the gallon average, and I reset it as soon as I left from the airport. And I've already driven, actually, I don't see how many miles, and I don't have a copy of my rental agreement. They didn't print it out for me. But I'd probably say maybe about 100 miles. I've driven about 100, around 100, between 50 and 100 miles, over 50 for sure. And I'm averaging 38 miles to the gallon. Some of that's been highways, some of that's been in kind of small back roads, getting to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and my hotel and stuff like that. And it's not bad. That's crazy good gas mileage compared to what I'm used to getting in my truck. And interior is not too bad. It feels kind of cheap, feels plasticky, like it's a low-end, budget-friendly car. But it's got some nice features that I really appreciate. The steering wheel's nice. The menu system and stuff in the entertainment unit is nice. Everything's pretty ergonomical, easy to reach. The AC's killer. The AC's working just fine. It's got USB ports. That's got an auxiliary headphone kind of jack. It's got a cigarette lighter for your phone charger. Hell, it even has these lights up here and stuff. You know, these do nothing, but I assume. I mean, this. Oh shit! You can't even see what I'm looking at. Here we go. Yeah, whatever. It's just a fucking light up there. That's nothing. But yeah. I mean, all this stuff feels wicked cheap. I would never ever buy this thing. But I'll drive it as a rental car and not be too upset by it. So yeah. Maybe by the next video, I'll have some kind of clever badge or symbol or whatever, something to put on this rental car review. But thanks for your time. I appreciate you. Anybody who's watching, give me an idea. Like, I got more trips coming up planned, and I mean, what should I do a rental car of? I'm not gonna do like Lamborghinis or any of that shit. Maybe next time I go to Vegas, which has been a while since I've been to Vegas, but next time I go to Vegas and I'm going for work, I will upgrade to a Lambo. If this video gets like, I don't know, 100 views, I'll fucking get a Lambo in Vegas, or a Porsche or a Ferrari or something like that. I'll pay and do a rental car review. I wish I would have started these sooner, because I've got so many cars. I've done Nissan Versa, which is a real piece of shit. Like, I hate those cars. Sorry to anybody who drives a Versa. You probably bought it because it was cheap, and if that's the case, then you bought it because it's doing its job as just being a cheap car that you could drive around, and it's doing its damn job. But I've driven Versas, Yaris's, Camrys, Hondas. I like the I've had Kia Souls, Kia Fortes, probably a lot of Kias. We had a Nissan 370Z. That was a pretty cool little car. I've had Mustangs. I've had F-150 trucks, Dodge Ram trucks. What else? I've had like a Chevy Equinox, a GMC Terrain. Okay, so I take it back. The GMC Terrain was the slowest car, and it's a nice SUV. It was nice. It was like the I don't know what the GMC's upgraded version was, but it was really nice inside. The interior was excellent, but it had a little tiny 4-cylinder in an SUV. That was the slowest car I've ever driven, hands down. Has to be the slowest car I've ever driven. Built after the year 2000, you know, because there's some older, slower stuff that I had as a kid that those don't count. Hell, even my wife's Hyundai Santa Fe, it scoots compared to what that GMC Terrain did. So I'm kind of rambling now, but hey, I really appreciate tuning in. Let me know in the comments, like, if you guys have some legitimate comments. If anybody's even watching, that'd be cool first. But leave some comments of like, hey, I want to see what that gas cap looks like, or, you know, some stupid shit like that. Let me know, and I'll make sure to include those in the next videos. And I think this could be a little fun thing to do, just when I go out of town on trips and stuff, because I go at least once or twice a month. And I'm gonna keep these up with the Cusco's rental car reviews. And thanks. Catch you on the flip side.